All right, we're now live. Okay. Now, I'm going to start with the easy stuff so we can get that out of the way, hopefully, and make sure that we can do the hard stuff, which is going to be fun. Okay, so find. Oh, I'm not even pointed the right way, am I? Let's try that again. Find the domain, and I've got f of x equals 1 over x squared minus x. So, since I don't know people's names yet, let's see here. We'll start at the bottom of the list. How about Trevor? Are you here? Trevor Western? You just signed up yesterday. How about Lauren? You're here. Oh, we got two Laurens? You're Lauren Stevenson. That's who I am. And you're Lauren also? I'll get you. So Lauren Stevenson, do you know how to do this one? No? What do you notice about that? What do you notice about it? It's one of your favorite things to do in the whole wide world. You can do that. What is it? It's a function. Function does begin with F, but I thought you were going to say the other F word. Isn't it a fraction? A fraction, which, you know, most of you think that's a swear word, right? Okay. Now, what cannot happen in the denominator where you have a problem? In a fraction. What cannot be in the denominator? It cannot equal 0. So this x squared minus x cannot equal 0, or you got a problem, right? Now pretend that's an equal sign for just a moment. Could you solve that? How do you solve it? So yeah, so we need to use another F word and factor. Okay, we're on the F words today, right? You know how to factor that? Pull out the x, and I'm left with x minus 1 cannot equal 0. Can you solve that? X cannot equal 0, or x cannot equal solve that for 0, 1. Right. Okay. Now, bonus questions. You know how to put that in what notation? Interval notation? No? You're going to phone your friend Lauren over there? You know how to do that? Oh. Okay. Usually, okay, if it can't equal 0, you got to use the round things and the square things. Do you know? No? Do you know? In the green? What's your name? Tessa. X is an element of, and then we have to decide if it's a round or a square bracket. Is it round? Okay. And then what? What? No, not 0. We'll have 0 over here. What's less than 0? How far? Negative infinity. And then do I use a round or a square? Round. Okay. And then we're going to union that with I can't hear you. Parenthesis. Not yet. We're going to go 0 to 1. And then we're going to union that with 1 to infinity. Okay? Now, this is the sort of thing they like to ask on. I'm perfectly fine with this answer, by the way. I think it's a lot easier. But they like to ask this on the final exam, and you all are going to ace my final exam, right? Especially Lauren, right? And Lauren, are you going to ace it? Better. I'll kick your butt. Okay? All right, does that make sense? Should we do another one just for fun?
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one? G of x equals the square root of 9 minus x squared. Okay? This is a good one. Now, let's pick on Tyler. Where's Tyler? Tyler Jones? Yeah. Where do I have a problem with square roots? Where do I have a problem with them? If they're negative, right? So these have to always be positive, or they could they be 0? Okay, so I've got a problem if what's under the square root is negative. So 9 minus x squared has to be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, now I know y'all love to graph things. Not as much as me though, right? Do you know what that would be if we were to graph it? What would it look like? It would be a parabola, right? Is it up or down? Does it open up or open down? To negative x squared, right? So it's going to open down. And how high is it going to go? It's going to go up to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's going to open down like this, right? Now we've got to figure out what those 2 points are because none of this will work because that's going to be negative, right? So how do we find these 2 values here? Question?
Why would it not be sideways and get half the problem? Because it's a square.
Okay, that's a good question. We're graphing the domain, we're not graphing the function. Okay, so the domain is downward. If I were to graph the function, it would be like you said. Okay, so I'm only worried about the domain, so I'm graphing the domain here. That's a good question. Okay, so at this point now, how do we find out what those 2 values are? Do you know, Tyler? You could plot points, but that would be a pain. Okay, anybody got any ideas for him? Tell me your name.
Isaac.
Isaac, what would you do? Yeah, at these points, it actually equals 0, correct? So I could solve 9 minus x squared equals 0, and then any of these points in between would be okay, correct? Okay, so now, tell me your name, Isaac. Isaac gave you a clue. Tyler, do you know how to solve that equation? How? Oh, I guess you could do that. Okay, plus x squared. That's not what I would have done, but it works. X squared equals 9. Square root, and you said x equals 3. Positive and negative. It's a good thing because I was going to smack your hand if you didn't get the positive and negative. So this is positive 3 or negative 3. So the domain is what? All x's between negative 3 and positive 3. And can they equal 3? Yes, they can. 3, there's 0, and 0 is okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, how would you write that in interval notation? Here we'll go back to Isaac, and I won't pick on you again. How's that? You don't mind being picked on, that's good. How would you write that in your notation?
Square bracket.
Okay. Always make sure you include x is an element of square bracket,
-3.
-3,
Um,
+3,
and then
square bracket. Very good. Okay? You gonna ace my quiz tomorrow? Okay? You know? Yeah, I like this answer better. Okay? All right. So let's. You guys feel pretty good about that? All right. How about now we're going to do a fun thing. And by fun thing, just remember my idea of fun and your idea of fun might not be the same thing. Okay? All right, let's say I've got f of x equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, because this one you're definitely going to want to watch again. Okay? This will be suspenseful. It'll be better than watching an action movie. Okay? All right, what if I said I want you to find f of a? And I'm going to pick on Michael Sellers. Where's Michael? Okay? Can you find f of a?
Plug in A for X.
Right. Plug in a for x. So you're going to plug it into here and into there. And you're going to get
2A squared
uh-huh.
plus 3A minus 1.
That wasn't too bad, right? You can take that on the quiz tomorrow. Okay. What if I said I want you to find f of minus a? Let's pick on Nicole Solomon. She's not in class. How about, oh, George? Is George here? We've gotten 1,000. How about Tessa? Oh, I already picked on you. How about James? I thought you said your name was Isaac.
Yeah, it's James Packer.
James Packard.
Yeah.
Will you go by Isaac? Okay. I'll make a note of that. I won't pick on you again because, how about Daniel? You help me out with that.
Right.
Daniel. Okay? So can you find f of minus a?
That'd be 2 plus negative A
2 times negative a squared
plus
plus
3 of
3
negative
times negative a
A minus 1.
minus 1. So negative a squared is positive a squared. So this becomes 2a squared. Positive 3 times negative a,
Say negative
3a minus 1. Okay, not too bad. You can do that on the quiz tomorrow. Okay, so here is what we're going to do next. What if I said find f of a plus h? Let's pick on, that was Daniel, right? Zachary Nordquist.
So it'd be 2 times A plus H
A plus h
plus 3.
squared
Oh, yeah, squared.
plus 3
A plus H
a plus h
minus 1.
minus 1. Okay. Now we need to FOIL this out. Can you FOIL that out for me?
Yeah. So it'd be
2 times
2 times A squared
a squared.
plus H squared
I was afraid you were going to say that.
plus 2H.
Plus 2ah plus h squared. Remember that? Who does not remember that? Don't lie. Some of you don't. Okay? Now, let me just mention this before we finish off with this problem. Because my daughter is taking high school math, and I told her to FOIL. And you know what she said to me? She said, what's that? And I said, how is it that we don't teach this in high school math? So some of you may not have seen this. Who's not heard of FOIL before? Only one? I think it's more than that. Okay? FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, and last. Okay? And what that means is, I could have rewritten this as A plus H times A plus H, right? So, these two are the first terms, okay? A times A is A squared. The outside terms are the A and the H, those are on the outside, right? So that becomes plus AH. The inside terms become these two terms, okay? Which is HA, or also can be written as AH, because it doesn't matter the order. And then the last terms are these two terms. Those are the last terms. H times H is H squared. And when you simplify that, it becomes A squared plus 2AH plus H squared. Okay? Now, theoretically, you should have learned that either in high school or Math 1010. But I'm going to review it because I know some of you didn't learn it, because I don't want to bag on Lehigh High School, but that's where my daughter goes. And apparently they don't teach that there. That's terrible.
Who's your teacher?
I have no idea.
My sister is a math teacher.
Oh, really? Does she teach FOIL?
I don't know. Oh, she yells at me whenever I don't remember it, so.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Well, apparently, I don't know. Anyway, I gave her a hard time, and maybe she just isn't paying attention in class. I don't know. But at any rate, okay, so we've got this piece done. Now, who was I picking on? I can't remember. Okay.
It'd be plus
Plus
3A
3A plus 3H minus 1. And so we can simplify this once again to be 2A squared
plus
plus
4A
4AH
plus 2A
plus 2H squared
plus 3A
plus 3A plus 3H minus 1. Okay? So that's f of A plus H. Okay? Now, in my other class, one of the students asked me about the difference quotient. Okay, the difference quotient is f of A plus H minus f of A all over H. Okay? Now you do not need to memorize that. I will be more than happy to give it to you. But what I want you to do is I want you to apply this formula to this function. Now, who is going to move on to take calculus? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, 7. So this is actually the definition of what they call a derivative. So you're definitely going to see this again in calculus. The rest of you aren't taking calculus, but you still got to know it, okay? And this is the problem that people like to miss the most, which means that if you miss it on this test, it's going to be on tomorrow's quiz. It's also going to be on the next test, and it might be on the next test, and maybe the next test, and also the next test if you keep missing it, okay? So you really got to learn this, because it will definitely be on the final, and I don't write the final, okay? This is really important. Now, here's what's nice about what we've done so far. We have already found f of A plus H, and we've already found f of A. So all I want you to do is I want you to take these two results, okay? So who can help me with that? How about Javier? Right there, Javier. So f of A plus H equals what? That number is there. So 2A squared plus 4AH plus 2H squared plus 3A plus 3H minus 1, okay? So that is this piece here. I'm going to put that in parentheses just to set it up, okay? Then we need to subtract what? F of A. And so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually line these up because these are going to line up. 2A squared plus 3A minus 1. And then this whole thing is going to be divided by h, right? Now, if you do this properly, a lot of stuff should cancel out. I've got 2a squared minus 2a squared. Those are going to cancel. I've got 3a minus 3a. Those are going to cancel. I've got -1 minus a -1, so that's +1. So those cancel. So I'm left with 4ah plus 2h squared plus 3a, all 3h, excuse me, 3h, all over h. Okay? Are you with me so far? Now, Javier, is there anything I can factor out the numerator? I can factor h out of the numerator, and I'm left with 4a plus 2h plus 3, all divided by h. Now, if you do this right, you should always be able to cancel an h. And so I'm left with what? Four a plus 2h plus 3. And that is the final answer. Okay? Guaranteed this is going to be on the quiz tomorrow. Guaranteed a problem like this is going to be on the next test, and probably the next test, because some of you are not going to want to do it, and you're going to want to see it again. Okay? And I can't guarantee, but I'm 90% confident that it's going to be on the final exam. Okay? So this is a very, very important problem to do, and it's very hard, I know that. And in fact, I want to do an even harder one. How about if I do one of your hardest homework problems for you? Okay? Is that cool? Do I have a volunteer that wants to help me do this? Or I'll just pick on somebody, that's okay too. Okay, I'll figure it out here in a second. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. How much time do I have? 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I'm probably gonna go fast because this one's gonna be a hard one. And I'm gonna do problem number 48 because it's an even one, and then you won't have to ask me how to do this one tomorrow. 48, I want you to use the difference quotient, okay? And I've got f of x equals 2x over x minus 1. And I'm going to say find f of a plus h minus f of a all over h. Okay? So I just picked on Javier. Rory, do you want to help me with this? No, but you can do anyway, right? Okay, so the first part I need to do is find this part here. What's f of a plus h? A plus h. Minus 1. Okay. Minus, now we need to plug in f of a. What's that?
A minus 1.
Okay. And we're going to divide the whole thing by h. Okay, now I've got a fraction here, so I've got to get a common denominator. What is the common denominator between these and this? The product of those two things, right? I'm going to rewrite this as this, okay? And I'm going to rewrite, so I need to multiply this by a minus 1 and a minus 1. Okay? I'm going to multiply this by a plus h minus 1 and a plus h minus 1. Okay? And I think I'm going to rewrite this as 2a plus 2h. Now, can you help me FOIL this out? So a times 2a is, no, it's 2a squared. A times 2 plus 2a. A times, oh, sorry. Did I do something wrong? A times, oh, this is 2h. sorry, I didn't write that very well. A times 2h is 2ah. Okay? Negative 1 times 2a, negative 2a. Negative 1 times 2h, 2h. Okay? My denominator is a minus 1 and a plus h minus 1. Okay? Now I need to subtract off 2a times a, 2a squared, 2a times h, 2ah, 2a times negative 1, negative 2a, same denominator, a minus 1, a plus h minus 1. Okay? All right, and then the whole thing is divided by h. Okay? All right, so now I've got 2a squared minus 2a squared, those cancel. I've got 2ah minus 2ah, those cancel. And then I've got negative 2a minus a negative 2a, which becomes positive. Oh, sorry, did I cross out the wrong one?
Yeah, you press
I'll leave that one there. Minus 2h minus 2a. That one cancels out. Okay? So let's just recap here. So I've got negative 2h over a minus h times a plus h minus 1 all over h. Correct? Got a fraction divided by a fraction. So I'm going to invert and multiply, right? So if I multiply by the reciprocal, 1 over h, the h's cancel, and I'm left with negative 2 over a minus 1 times a plus h minus 1. And that is all I have to say about that as far as concerned. Okay? Gosh, I even have like a minute left. Okay? Who's excited about doing this problem on the quiz tomorrow? 2 people? 3? Okay, guaranteed there'll be a problem similar to this on the quiz tomorrow. Yes? Mhm.
So you have like the 2a squared minus the 2a squared.
Right.
But how does the negative 2a minus the negative 2a cancel out?
Negative 2a minus a minus makes it a plus, right?
Yeah.
So negative 2a plus 2a, 0. This minus distributes out. Minus times minus, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right, quiz tomorrow is on the rest of chapter 2.1. See y'all tomorrow.